Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Talk of the Town. My name is Terry Devaney. I'm the host, and tonight we have what I call a full panel. That's with the people that are here each time we have a Talk of the Town event. Over to my right is Len Lucci, who has just been elected the president of the Bowie Chamber of Commerce. And he told us that there are many things that he's going to do and many goals that he's going to take on that can support and help the city of Bowie. And right next to him, feeding him some of the things he needs, is the mayor of Bowie, Fred Robinson. Lynn Skirpon is on my left, and Lynn is a lawyer in the city of Bowie and region, and probably the most knowledgeable lawyer on estates and wills that you'll find anywhere within this region.
Well, anywhere in the country.
Well, I would go that far and say at least the region, but anywhere in the country. The mayor, who gets around a lot, would know that better than I do. I thought we'd start tonight and talk a little bit about the international situation, since I think the president is on the verge of going to the people about pulling out some of our soldiers out of Afghanistan. And I just was thinking, they're talking on the press is talking about 10,000. Some people talk about 15,000. What do you think about it, Fred?
Well, I've got obviously mixed emotions. I mean, there's 30,000 troops here that went in with the surge. There's about 60, 70,000 troops in Afghanistan today. You know, I'm an old school guy, and it's very simple for me. If the president has made the decision to pull the troops out, I think he ought to do that. The thing that I'm concerned about is following the mistakes of President Johnson and Secretary McNamara as the Vietnam War down, and that is pull troops out a little bit at a time, leave the rest of them there as targets for every enemy the United States has in the world. You know, my sense is if you've made the decision to pull them out, then pull them out and don't leave them there. Because like I said, I don't want to be the person that looks in the face of the last GI and said, you're going to be the last one to die there.
What do you think, President?
That's pretty somber. I'm ready to end the show right now.
It's that bad. Yes.
I think if we pull out of Afghanistan completely now, or in 2 years from now, or 5 years ago, it's going to be the same result. Afghanistan is still in the 14th century, still run by warlords who live in caves, and it took Russia 10 years to realize its mistake, and it really hurt its economy. When the United States then became the supreme country in the world, it's taken us 10 years to realize this, and it's hurt our economy, and during that, China's become the supreme country in the world. So it's kind of a scary pattern. So I agree with the mayor. Of course I agree with the mayor.
Oh, absolutely.
That we should just get the heck out. And it's just been an unfortunate experience. Now, Secretary Powell, when he worked for President Bush, said that what you have here is the Pottery Barn rule. If you break it, you own it. And unfortunately, President Obama came in and he owned it. And it was going poorly, and he had to try and make the best of it, which they've done with General Petraeus, and move out. So it's time to do that.
What do you think, Lynn?
Well, I think it's great news that the president is talking about pulling out troops. I don't think he's going to pull them all out at once. I think, you know, I don't think it's practical. I don't think that's the advice he's getting. And I just don't think he will do it for a variety of political and military reasons. Having said that, I'm anxious to hear the first group is coming home. It's great for the military families. My heart goes out to them. And I hope there's a timeline, whether announced or not, I hope there's a timeline that the president has in the back of his mind, you know, the game plan of how we are getting everybody out. And the sooner the better.
I agree with everything that's been said.
This is
especially
scary. You
is
two
scary.
Agreeing with me and Lynn saying,
well, more than that,
You've
I'm concerned about the $1 billion that's costing us to be in Afghanistan when the final analysis, and I think you're correct, nothing changes. What we've done up to this point, we've had a winner. Bin Laden is gone, and the Al-Qaeda is really kind of crushed in terms of being able to do or try to do some of these so-called events that this guy Strawheary is thinking about, who is just taken over. So, and Karzai, the Afghani president that we're supporting, says things about us and about our troops that are negative. And I'm of the opinion that that there cannot be a change from where we are today. And I'm almost of the opinion now, and I was never this way before. I always said, put more troops in there, let's just swallow the place up and take it. Now I'm pull all our guys out, and Afghanistan doesn't do anything. Yeah, it doesn't. Well, not only Karzai, the whole system is corrupt. And it's not going to change. He's right. The warlords are still hanging out in the caves. They got piles of money in the cave next to them.
Maybe Rashawn Baker can go there after he cleans up Prince George's County.
He would have a much longer, more difficult time. The arrows would be flying over his head.
Which poses the greater challenge? You know, reaching an accord with the Taliban or the political structure of Prince George's County?
And the other thing is, when you say, well, we'll talk to the Taliban, I don't think...
They're doing that now, apparently.
I know, but I don't think that gives us anything. It doesn't bring us anywhere.
The key is exactly what Len said. You're dealing with people that are living, I think the 14th century is being charitable. I think these guys are living in around at least the 12th century, where they have no concept of humanity. They have very limited... they have the literacy there is very limited. It's tribal. It's all grudge-based discussions. I just don't see anything positive coming out of Afghanistan that's worth another GI. I know this sounds terrible, but I heard somebody say it the other day, and the more I thought about it, the more I said, I'm not really sure at this point that it's worth another GI's life so Mrs. Muhammad could vote. And that's at the end of the day, what do you want to achieve in Afghanistan that we haven't achieved already? I mean, there are some areas that have been, settled is the wrong word, but they're more peaceful than they've
stabilized.
But my guess is
the women's right to vote.
No, Len's right. As soon as the American troops pull out of there, I think Karzai's government will probably collapse, and there'll be another gathering of the warlords.
Nobody will be looking at Karzai and his corruption.
He'll take all his money. He'll be joining the Chamber of Commerce and asking Len for directions to the Chesapeake Bay.
He'll be supporting Len.
You know, his brother does own a short order grill in Baltimore. That's true. No, it's true.
He's the one that.
No, it's true.
He's the one that's most corrupt.
No, that's another one.
Oh, the one that owns all the poppy fields.
Right, and the other one's in Baltimore. It's an Afghan kebab place in Baltimore. Yeah.
Oh God, I didn't know that.
That's why it's good to have him here. The man has a wealth of information,
knowledge of the kebab place. I like that.
Good.
Well, I wanted to quickly go there since it was really the light that lit up the television news tonight. But then we were talking previously about some of the things that are happening locally outside of the president of elect, now president of the chamber. That was big news and pictures in the paper. And now,
according to the president, the chamber is on a rocket path now.
Ooh, and you're quoting the president.
I'm quoting the president.
All right, but interestingly enough, the mayor just told us before we came on that there's going to be a change in leadership in our educational environment in Bowie, which, as you know, we always say that our middle schools are maybe not the best, but our elementary schools are great, and the principal at Bowie High School has been doing a good job. Incredible. What's the background on Fred?
Dr. Height called to give us a heads up that he's going to move 3 of Bowie's outstanding principals to a higher level of responsibilities. Jane Spence is leaving Bowie High School. It's my understanding her new role will be coordinating all the high school programs and the high school principals. Kathy Brady is leaving the middle school, and she's going to be doing a similar task with middle school principals. And Chris Mills, who's an outstanding principal at Kenilworth Elementary School, is taking on a leadership role at the board, or at the superintendent's office. The challenge is these are 3 really great educational administrators. They've left an incredible mark on our students. Jane Spence does a marvelous job at Bowie High School in setting expectations for the children and holding them to them. And we were just at the graduation exercises there, and I will tell you, those students over there really appreciate her commitment to discipline and to structure and expectations. And she's going to be hard to replace. And I feel sorry for the person that comes in next, because they're inevitably going to be compared to her thing. But
I can see the headlines now. Bowie loses its principals.
That's why we
more than once.
That's what we like about London.
But you hate to lose good people. I know there'll be regional leaders, and that's important. But when you're looking at Bowie High School with, what is it, 3,400 people?
I think it's like 3,400 students.
And they're in a school built for max 1,800, really more like 1,400.
Yeah.
Is there any talk anywhere anymore about the $23 million that disappeared from the county budget that was set aside for the Bowie new high school? Anything more on that anywhere in the system? Does anyone talk about Bowie?
I think you could find that money at Henry A. Wise Senior High School.
I think you're right.
This school system has schools that are way over capacity and schools that are way under capacity. And the number of students in the system has gone down significantly over the last 5 years. So, I mean, tough decisions have to be made about school closures around the county. But when you do that, you hear cries of bloody murder.
Oh, you bet.
But that's what has to happen in order for, progress to be made. I mean, you have Bowie High School on one end of Duval, and you have Eleanor Roosevelt on the other end. They're both packed. Duval was given extra gymnasium, extra auditorium. They sit empty.
Yeah.
The school is way below capacity. So unless maggots are at every high school, and unless tough decisions are made in terms of school closures, which could mean even Bowie could lose one of its elementary schools if you did that, you're going to be stuck with this overcrowding situation, having lunch at 10:30 in the morning.
Yeah. What do you think, Lynn? Any salvation for the Bowie school system?
I think you better just hope and pray you get good replacement principals.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea what did he say?
Well, we've had a number of conversations with the new executive, and he clearly understands our interest in schools and our commitment to schools, and he has said the right things about being supportive for another high school in the city. But Len's absolutely right. I mean, if you look at the system in total, there are incredible imbalances going across the county, and sooner or later those will have to be addressed. But if you look at the situation in the city, we have two middle schools that are both operating well above 100% of their capacity. You have a high school that was designed for 1,200 or 1,400 kids that has 3,400 kids. They're actually in two different buildings now, and the entire freshman class is in a separate building. And that's not an environment conducive to learning, and it's not an environment that's conducive to children or students feeling like they belong to that facility. So it's not an easy solution, and I agree with Len. Sooner or later, we're going to have to face up to the countywide imbalance and deal with it. I'm confident with the new executive understands that. He understands what we need in Bowie. He's made, like I said, some very positive statements consistent with our objectives, but it remains to be seen. I mean, you're talking, even if they do what we've suggested and have a small high school that would accommodate 1,200 or 1,400 kids instead of another regional one, you're still talking a $60, $70 million investment at a time when the county is still running deficits.
But the other thing, it was just discussed, Roosevelt, a tech high school, and is a great school, and Bowie High School, even though overcrowded, is still an excellent school.